Welcome back, sports fans. I finally have bought an e-bike. So here she is, Scott Ransom ERide 920, large, 180mm travel front and rear. It's got Shimano SLX brakes, XT drivetrain throughout. It's got a Fox Float X2 performance shock, and then the standard RockShox ZEB up front. Syncross drop approach, syncross wheels, syncross bars and stem. Yeah, let's go ride it. Oh, it's fast. Enough of that crap about geometry and specs. Most importantly is how does the bike ride. So I'm going to dive in, first ride, first impressions. I'm going to ride a bike park trail called Granny's Fanny, crass name, and it's got massive flowing berms, real fast, some jumps in it. So this will be a good scope of how comfortable I am straight away on the bike. So if I'm up to speed straight away, and then I can go from there, see what I need to change, and give us first ride impressions. Let's do it. That is fast. That bike is fast. I did feel a bit like unbalanced because this is the first full 29er e-bike that I've owned. Actually, it's the first 29er bike that I've owned. I've ridden a few, but I've always felt a bit unbalanced. I've got short legs, so when I put my weight over the back, I always get tyre buzz, so then that pushes me forward, and then when I'm cornering, I don't quite feel like I'm in the centre of the bike. I'm sure after a few runs I'll get used to that, accustomed to it, and start going fast. But next up, I'm going to ride this more technical trail to see what it feels like on roots and rocks. This trail is called Doubler, and it's got everything. Off-camber turns, berm turns, roots, rocks, tight corners, flat out sections. So I think this trail is going to be like the ultimate test of how comfortable I am on a bike, how good the bike is, because this trail people ride on their downhill bikes all the time. So 180mm travel bike that we got here should fare pretty well on this trail. Let's have a look. I'm mega excited. Alright, let's go, doubler. Straight away, tight, good returns. This thing gets real fast. Straight into some steep shoots with being turns, all rocks flying everywhere. Highlight, up, loose to the corner. Little off camber bit where roots, flat turns. Highlight, through the roots. Well, it's a bit slow there. Down into the woods. Oh. Hi. I'll move the turn. Oh, loads of shady loose rocks. Flat corners. Oh, it's very dappled light. Hard to see inside. Jump down. High. Inside across the rocks. Whoa. And there we go. Oh wow. Unreal first run. Wow, it is definitely fast. I felt more comfortable on the wheels then, on 29ers, and I was getting to push into the corners a bit more. But one thing I did notice was I've got these Maxxis OEM, like the white label tyres, an Asgai and a Dictator or whatever it's called. And when you come to hitting roots and rocks, because the sidewall's so soft, you've got to run them at like a bit higher pressure than you would want, and then the tread on the actual rubber itself is really hard, so the tires are pumped up hard and the tread compound is hard, so when you're hitting roots and rocks you're sort of pinging off them instead of gripping through them. But I knew that would be the case with the white label tires, so I'm interested to see when I get a good set of tires on there what it can actually do. So I'm gonna pedal back to the top and hit another bike park trail. I'm already feeling pretty comfortable on this bike, so I'm pretty happy so far. Let's have a chat about why I bought this particular bike. So pretty much I spent the last 3 months looking at e-bikes as my normal mountain bike snapped at W Bike Park. So I've spent a lot of time researching and looking at all the different bikes, and I chose this Scott Ransom because pretty much it's 180 front and rear travel. So coming from riding and racing downhill for a lot of years, I feel like if it's got a motor, you may as well have the travel. So the climbs are made easier by the motor, and the descents are then also made easier by having a lot of travel. And I do plan on racing this e-bike quite a bit, so I think the 180mm front and rear will come in handy when I'm wanting to smash it down some trails. Also, what come into the equation was the price. So this bike was £4,800 on offer, and a lot of the other brands around that price just come with terrible spec. So this bike's got the Fox XT shock, ZEBs up front, Shimano brakes, XT drivetrain. And I was looking at a similar bike in the Trek range, and the same bike costs like £9,500. So the price came into it a lot, and I finally bit the bullet, chose this one because I did want something like the Trek with the smart system on it, the Bosch smart system with a 750 watt-hour battery, just more laps, go further, ride longer days. But also none of the bikes really had that with 180mm or 170mm travel. So that's what made me decide to have this. A lot of people think it's too heavy, but coming from downhill racing back in the 2000s and 2010s, bikes were really heavy then, so I'm kind of used to it. And I've ridden, in the past 10 years, I've ridden a lot of enduro motorbikes and trials, so this is like a third or a quarter of the weight of those, so it actually feels just right on the trails. So back at the top, let's drop into I think we're gonna ride Bob Gnarly, which is like a flowy fast trail with some more jumps, like similar to the first one we rode. Bit tighter, the turns are a bit tighter, but hell of a trail. So big shout out to the boys at Trapentous Trails who build all these trails. A few of them are down the bottom there right now, digging away. They love it, man. So good. So, how does it climb? I think everyone already knows the Bosch CX motor is the business. Really powerful, really reliable. The only ugly thing is the Purion display. I mean, Shimano displays and buttons are way nicer to look at, but then the Bosch motor I'd say is better. So, you know, pros and cons you've got to give and take every now and then. But yeah, climbs like a dream. I've not really hit any super technical climbs yet, but the seat angle on this bike is pretty steep, so I'm sure it'll be fine on technical climbs. You'll keep your weight forward and not start wheeling the bike like I've done on other bikes in the past where the steep angle is pretty slack. So yeah, climbs like a dream. We're going to drop into Mikajiva here now, and then we'll head back to the garage, talk a bit more about this bike. Sweet, let's drop in. Right, Mikajiva, a bit more technical, tight, rooty. One of my favourite trails here, to be honest. Tight straight away, and then we open it up into some awesome turns. Oops, steep right down to here. Some roots, and the exit is blown off. Moped. Oh, steep and loose. Shaly rock everywhere. Handy flick. Ah, what a dreamy trail. Whoop. Slow. Ah, you can tell I've not ridden in 3 months. Flat, a little off cam a bit. High line, through trees. These bars are wide. Let's go down into this gnarly rock. Shoot! And then we're on the fly road. Alright, let's drop in, see if his tyres hook up on the slick rock. Oh my god, those grasses are steaming up. Oh, it's leafy. You can barely see. Must not have been ridden lately. No. Tight. Some super tight turns. See how the 29 is. Oh. Ah. That was hard. Straight line. Oh. Capra. Wow, can tell I've not ridden in 3 months, I'm all over the place. Right, we're back from a ride, and what have I got to say? I'm in love. The bike is spot on. The geometry is perfect. I think I need to ride it a lot more before I want to make any changes to the geometry, but it's got a flip chip here, so I am thinking I might want to try a 27 wheel on the back, try a mullet setup, just because I'm getting some tyre buzz on from the 29 on my arse because I got tiny legs. But other than that, I'm really impressed. It's fast, it corners well, even with the full 29, which I'm really skeptical about, just because, like I said, I've got really short legs. But 180mm soaks everything up. Yeah, so far I am impressed. But there's some things I do and don't like. So let's have a quick look at the things I don't like. So the first thing I don't like is this charging port here. Seems pretty useless and ineffective and a bit of an afterthought. I don't think it's going to keep the water and rain out all that well. I much prefer the charging ports on like a Shimano bike, but also the display and buttons, I much prefer the Shimano version, but I'm willing to deal with it because it's actually a Bosch motor and I much prefer the Bosch motor. Second up on things we don't like is center lock rotors. On the first ride today, they came loose, and in all my years of racing and riding 6-bolt rotors, they've never come loose, ever. So we might have to change those. And last up in the things I don't like is the stem. It's a 50mm stem, as you can see, 50mm. Bit long for my liking, and I don't know why it comes stocked with it. 35mm stem, because it's a long bike, long reach, so 35mm stem would be perfect, but these are all things we can change easily. Now let's take a look at some things I really do like about this bike. And first up is the fork. I've never really ridden RockShox forks. I used to work for Fox, so I would always have Fox, and this is a standard ZEB and I'm quite impressed. Really took everything I threw at it today. 180mm, as you'd expect it would soak up anything you throw at it, but yeah, quite impressed with the ZEB. And then these SLX brakes, quite impressive. I've only ever run XT and XTR from the Shimano range. Amazing brakes, let me tell you. But these SLXs are no less powerful. Not once today did I feel like they weren't going to stop me. So there we have it, my first ride impressions of the Scott Ransom ERide 920. I'm quite a happy fella. Really happy with my purchase so far. So I'll keep you updated in the future when I'm doing some vlogs on this bike, riding it with all the boys, see if I can keep up with the boys after 3 months off the bike. And yeah, I'm really impressed. So I'll do a long-term review of it after 6 months or so, see how it's going. I've got all the protective tape on there, so I'm hoping to keep it nice and lovely, looking good. But yeah, until the next one, I'll just be riding bikes, and I'll see you then.